Okay, so a few people have asked me if I can show them how I'm knitting my mitered square blanket. Now, I'm not using a pattern as such, it's kind of a mix of a couple of things, I guess. I found the decreases in one of my knitting instruction manuals, and then I just did a cast on that suited me for the size of square that I liked. And they are weeny little squares. I think they're about 2 inches square, but I really like that size. And what I did, mine's square, as you can see, quite a lot of them are on the diagonal, so you get the little triangles down here. But I started here with this square. I cast on 31 stitches, and the way I do my decreases, on the first row you knit, the first decrease row, you knit 14, and then you slip 1, knit 2 together, pass slip stitch over, and that's how I do the double decrease. So as you go along, so on the first decrease row you would do what I've just said. Next row you obviously knit. Second decrease row you would knit 13, do your decrease, knit 13, and then moving on you would knit 12, then 11, then 10. So that's how you move forward with the diagonal decrease. So this was the first one that I knit. I then went on to this one. So I would pick up, I'll show you how I pick up stitches, but I picked up 15, cast on 16, carried on as normal, and just did that all the way along. I then went back to do this one, and what you do is you cast on, because you're starting it with these ones, you know, you're picking up first. When you're going up above, you would cast on first. So you would cast on 16, pick up 15, and then carry on and do your square as I've just said. So once you've sort of established these corner ones, you then have the pickups on both of the sides, which is the one that you do most commonly, so that's what I'll show you. So I'm up here now. If you can see, the last one I did was the red square. So I just turn it so that this first pickup row is accessible, so you're going in the right direction. Now the other thing I don't do is I don't slip the edge stitches at all. It's just pure garter. There's no slipping of the edge stitches because I like to pick up from that garter edge. So if I hold it up, and I'll show you the first stitch that I pick up along this edge. If you look towards the corner here, this is where we cast off, and then go down, you'll see there's a stitch right in there, and that's where I pick my first stitch up from. So you pop your needle in, get your yarn, make a little loop, hook that over and pull it through, and that's your first stitch. Now what we do now is we pick up in between the garter ridges, and you'll see there's kind of like a place where it naturally wants to go. You'll see in between your garter ridges, it's easier once we get a bit further down, but there's a stitch right in between there, and you go in there and just knit. Oops. I'll just pull out a bit of yarn, pull it through, okay? And again, if you look here, you can see that stitch in between the garter ridges. You go in there and pull it through. Again, that stitch there in between the ridge, pull it through. And you go all the way down, and you will have picked up 15. Next one. See, it's a bit clearer now, we're sort of in the main bit of the square. You can see right in there, can you see the V of that stitch there? And we go in there and there. It's the same way that you pick up stitches on the Learn to Knit a Log Cabin blanket, the one by Stacey Perry. and I really liked the way that how neat it left the front when you do it this way. So again, in there. And I love doing this bit. A lot of people don't like picking up stitches, but I love it for some reason. I don't know why. I just find it very therapeutic, just going down the row picking up your stitches. So we go all the way to the bottom. In there. And then the last one there. Now if you just, I always do a little double check and count my stitches because I'm a bit OCD like that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Now what we do is we pick up a stitch on this square here, and where I pick it up, I follow this line, the decrease line, and I go in kind of at the point of the decrease line there. It's not an exact science, but if you can see, I'm going in there. So it's definitely on the purple one. Just get rid of all, pull all your ends through, and then give it a pull, because you know we're going into that corner and we want it to be nice and tight, that corner. So I really do kind of pull on that yarn. Whoops, see I lost it there, so do it again. So in at that corner, give it a tug, pull it through. Okay, so that's the one in the corner. We're now, oh, see my hair, and does anyone else do that? Knit hair into their projects. So now we're going to pick up stitches on this blue one. So again, we're picking up 15 stitches because we've now got 16 on there, so we need another 15 to get back to our 31. The first one we don't go into, you can see there's kind of one there. We don't go in, that's not the first one we go into, we go in here. This is, so it's in between that first set of garter ridges. We go in there. And again, I give this, just get your yarn ends out of the way, your tails out of the way on the back. I do give this a nice little tug and pull it through. So we just do the same thing, we follow those stitches along. You can see them a little bit more clearly on this one. Can you see that V stitch in there? We go in there. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, nearly there, 12, 13, 14, and your last one, you'll be going where you picked up from this other side here. You'll see, can you see where that was there, where you began on this square here? You go back into that same square, I don't mean square, you know what I mean, back into that same point where you started that square. There we go. Now just as a double check, just to make sure, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 31. So we've got our 31 stitches back on the needle, and now, you know, we would just start doing our square as normal. So, you know, you turn and knit and then start your decreases, and away you go. So then you've done your little square. Okay, the other thing that I just wanted to show you is how I deal with the reverse side and what I do to sort out these ends that are on the back. So I wait until I've got a row, wait until I've done this top row here, and I've got all these little yarn ends that meet at the corners here. So I'll do it on this one here because I've not done anything with this one yet. So you've got 2 yarn ends that meet at a corner, a corner of 4 points if you like, and I tie a knot give that, now what you do is if you give that a good pull, you'll feel it snug in all those corners, those, you know, that it's referring to. So give it a good old tug. And then to weave in the ends, so we'll thread it onto our needle with this one. So this yarn is from this square here. You'll be able to tell with the colours of the yarn. So this one is from this square. So what I do is, first of all, I go up the side where this ridge is and just weave it through a few of those stitches just to get to this sort of more bit of a length of garter, if you know what I mean. So push it through the ridge there and give it a pull through. Oops. Okay, and then turn it. And now we can weave it in along these ridges. So I use the technique that's in the Learn to Knit a Log Cabin. So what you do is you go into what Stacey calls them is little smiles and umbrellas. Smiles and umbrellas. So we go into one of those little smiles and pull it through, and then we follow the yarn around and we go over, through a smile and through the umbrella below. So you're doing a little diagonal and push through. Again, follow that round, umbrella, smile and pull it through. Around, smile, umbrella. And this is Stacey's way of doing it. This is not something that I've made up. It is following her instructions. Smile, sorry, umbrella, smile. And I do that maybe 4 or 5 times. And you know that that's good and woven in. You've got, I mean, first of all, you've got a knot here. We've then woven it along there and then through the garter. So, you know, I'm absolutely certain that that is not going to come undone in any way. And you can see it's a fantastic way of weaving in because you just cannot see where you've done that at all. And then you just trim that end and you're done.